If you are delivering a class online that was conducted face-to-face, there are differences you need to be aware of to keep within the law. The Copyright Act defines the legally enforceable rights of creators of creative and artistic works under Australian law. A major difference is that third-party material is generally not to be recorded as part of the lecture, except where permission has been sought from the copyright holder or you have used the appropriate copyright warning. This video outlines the most common uses of materials that are subject to copyright and how you should handle them in your LearnJCU site. When using a diagram, figure or image from another source in an online lecture or your subject site, the easiest method is to save it to your reading lists. Reading lists can make textual material and images available on LearnJCU for you and ensure that all the copyright requirements are met. For more information, see our readings guide. For example, if you're making a 10-minute summary video for your class, you can add the supplementary material to the reading list for the subject. This is the simplest way to manage copyright in these items. If you are using this type of material in class that you want to include in either a lecture recording, a PowerPoint, or your LearnJCU subject site, you need to comply with some conditions set down by the educational licenses. This applies where you are not using the reading list for these items. These conditions are: you must limit the types and amounts of material, acknowledge all material with a proper and accurate citation, display the required copyright warning notices, and restrict access to staff and students involved in a subject. Those assisting you or administering LearnJCU are allowed access. Even if you meet all these conditions, you do need to be certain that you are using a legitimate copy of the material. The library can help you if you're unsure on this one. We will look at how to handle 3 common situations: using supplementary illustrations or diagrams, a clip from YouTube or a similar site, and viewing a film with your class. If you are using material within the limits of the Copyright Act, you still need to put the copyright warning notice ahead of using the item. Best practice is really using a reading list to take care of the copyright issues for you, so it's very simple. Then you just refer your students to that item. If you decide to use a diagram in the lecture recording, you must insert the copyright warning notice at the start or before you use the item and acknowledge the author of the work. This works if you are recording the lecture or if you have created a slideshow that you ask students to view or talk them through in a live-streamed lecture. If the warning notice isn't at the start of the recording or PowerPoint, you can also use it with the item, as in this example. If you are using a clip from YouTube, again, best practice is to add it to your reading list and refer your students to it. So I've opened my reading list in another tab that will include my YouTube video when I'm done here. First, I just make a judgment on whether this is a legitimate copy. It's available on the Australian Museum's YouTube channel, so I'm happy that it's okay to be used. I use the Talus browser plugin to add it to my bookmarks and straight onto my reading list. This is just the finalisation of adding it directly to the correct reading list and making sure that it's published. So I just have to always make sure to publish the changes once I think I'm done. I could also put my YouTube clip into a PowerPoint for my lecture. I've used the embed code here. The link or embed code are both fine to use. You must add the attribution. Or I could put it into a section on my LearnJCU site. Note that we don't need a copyright warning for this use, but again, we must give the attribution for the video. Now, you must not record the video playing when you're recording your lecture. And you must not download a clip like this as an MP4 and then upload it to your site. Those are both clear breaches of copyright. If you are using a full-length film in a face-to-face classroom, you'll need to source a broadcast copy to use online. The easiest way to manage this is to contact the library to check on a specific title. However, we do have a range of licensed streaming content. You can view this on our databases page by filtering to streaming. Our collection also contains films that have been acquired under the statutory license, so these can be uploaded to your site. Again, no recording of the film as it plays. This is an example of how I would include an item from a streaming video collection in a lecture, so I've provided a link and attributed the film with a reference. If you've had trouble locating a legitimate copy of the material you would like to use, you should contact your liaison librarian who will be able to help you out with finding a suitable alternative. Open educational resources are a great option that, as the name indicates, are permissible to use for teaching online without limits on amount of material used or the need to display a copyright notice. Acknowledgement of the creator is still required. There are also publishers and vendors providing free access to resources at the current time. The library website is up to date with the special limited offers that are available. As always, for subject area content, your liaison librarian is a great source of information on possible resources or help using a reading list or other library services. Direct copyright questions may be asked via the copyright page.